Nobody, and I mean nobody, saw this coming. One day you're scrolling through clips of red carpet moments, thinking the boys are still all smiles and stage drama. The next day, boom, young Jock and Lil Scrappy are banned. Not suspended, not warned, straight up banned, out, gone. And not just from one show or one network, we're talking about a total industry blackout. Behind the scenes, the whispers are getting louder. And now the receipts are pouring in. See, at first, people thought it was just another fight. Another reality TV stunt cooked up in some production meeting. But this wasn't scripted. This wasn't edited with dramatic music and commercial breaks. This was raw, ugly, real-life betrayal caught on camera in the dirtiest, most explosive way. One insider, who was shaking when they spoke, said, "They used words so dark I can't even repeat them, and after that mess, no one wants them around anymore. Nobody." Now you're probably sitting there thinking, wait, what even happened? How did we go from matching outfits and studio sessions to alt-wat war? Let me tell you, it wasn't just about egos. It wasn't just about money. It was deeper. It was personal. So deep that once you hear it all, you'll never look at Jock or Scrappy the same again. At the core of it was trust. Or rather, the complete and total destruction of it. The kind of betrayal that doesn't just cut, it shatters. It starts with one rumor, one whisper behind closed doors. Word started leaking that Scrappy had been making moves behind Jock's back. Not just small-time moves either. We're talking about meetings with the very same production company Jock had been negotiating with, a rival deal, a big bag, and it looked like Scrappy wanted it all to himself. Now these two were supposed to be like brothers, ride or die. They built entire careers off the image of being unshakable, two kings in the same kingdom. But when Jock found out Scrappy had gone behind his back, oh, it got nuclear. Gone was the smiling jokester Jock. In his place was a man with clenched fists, eyes locked on betrayal. One witness said, Jock didn't scream. He didn't curse. He just stared dead at Scrappy and said, "You really thought I wouldn't find out?" And Scrappy, he didn't even flinch. He shot right back with a look like he'd been waiting for this, said Jock had already tried to snake him out of a deal months ago. That Jock had been shady first, so what you're looking at here is years of brotherhood turned battlefield. Two men who used to share stages, now throwing hands in a room full of stunned silence. But here's where it gets truly insane. The whole thing was recorded. Someone in that room, probably thinking they were slick, pulled out their phone and hit record. The camera shakes, the audio's messy, but every punch, every shout, every curse word, captured, unfiltered. And then it leaked. That video hit the internet like a bomb. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, blogs, everyone had it. Everyone was watching it. Fans were in shock. Producers were in panic. The network, silent at first, but then they acted hard and fast. Jock and Scrappy were removed from all upcoming appearances. Contracts shredded. No spin, no PR fluff. Just two names crossed off the list, and the internet went wild. Some people were Team Jock. Some were Team Scrappy. But most were just staring at their phones, wondering how the hell it got this bad. Because what the video showed wasn't two dudes messing around. It was emotional, violent, and vicious. These weren't characters on TV. These were real men with real rage and real consequences. Then the rumors started swirling. That the fight wasn't just about a TV deal. That it went deeper. Personal. Someone, and we still don't know who, leaked info that Jock had been flirting with someone close to Scrappy. Not just a friend. Not just some fan. Family. Allegedly, a woman Scrappy saw as a sister. Maybe not blood, but close enough that the line was not supposed to be crossed. When Scrappy found out, he didn't explode. Not immediately. He let it boil. Let it marinate in his mind until the moment was right. Or maybe the moment was wrong. But when Jock stepped into that room and the truth came out about the rival deal, that old resentment just detonated. All of it, the business betrayal, the personal betrayal, came out in a storm. And while fists were flying and chairs were almost thrown, some fool was recording the whole thing, clout chasing, maybe, revenge, possibly. Whatever the reason, that footage got out, and it changed everything. The network had no choice. The execs didn't even try to spin it. They saw what we all saw: chaos, violence, and a complete collapse of control. Scrappy and Jock weren't just cast members anymore. They were liabilities. And in a world where advertisers already walk on eggshells, this kind of fire, no one wanted to touch it. But that's not the end. Not even close. Because with that footage came questions. Big ones. Like who else was in that room? Who filmed it? Who leaked it? And what were they hoping to gain? Because right after the video dropped, a second rumor hit the blogs, that this wasn't just a fight. That there was money involved. Not just the bag from the production deal, but actual side bets, gambling. Wagers on who would win. That's right, people allegedly placing cash down like it was a boxing match. Not a breakdown between two men who used to call each other brothers. Insiders started whispering about cash being thrown on the floor, about envelopes changing hands, and about people laughing while Jock and Scrappy were going at it. It wasn't just a fight, it was a setup, entertainment for the vultures, and then, just when you think it can't go any further, the feds got involved. Yeah, you heard that right. The FBI allegedly started sniffing around. At first, it sounded crazy. Why would the feds care about a reality TV fight? But then word started spreading that this wasn't an isolated incident. That the fight had exposed deeper cracks in the foundation. Shady sponsorships, unreported payments. Even allegations of money laundering through charity, events that weren't so charitable after all. Once the feds got wind of that, game over. Jock and Scrappy's silence started to make sense. No Instagram lives. No apologies. No damage control interviews. Just silence. Complete radio silence. Probably on the advice of their lawyers. Because when the FBI starts sniffing around your bank records, your social circle, your contract history, every word becomes a liability. Behind the scenes, their teams were falling apart, managers quitting, publicists refusing to touch the story. Former coasters backing away slowly, not wanting to get dragged into the mess. Even families started turning cold. One source said Scrappy's own mom was devastated, called Jock a son one week, and the next refused to say his name. Jock's friends were ghosting him, scared to get caught up in whatever legal mess might be brewing. Everybody was jumping ship, and fans. They were eating it up. This was bigger than a show. This was real-life drama with real consequences. And everyone was watching like it was the finale of a series they didn't even know they were subscribed to. But here's the worst part. They say there's a second video, worse than the first. One that shows more people. Bigger names, encouraging the fight. Hyping it up, tossing money. And if that one leaks, oh baby, this whole thing will erupt into something nobody can contain. And trust me, it's coming. The first video was bad. The second one, it shattered what little was left of their careers. Because when that second clip hit the internet, it didn't just show a fight, it exposed an entire ecosystem of chaos. This wasn't two men beefing over a deal. This was a full-on underground spectacle. And the worst part, the people in that room weren't just background extras or random staffers. These were the so-called clean ones. People who had built their image on brotherhood, loyalty, professionalism, all of them now caught on shaky footage, tossing money on the floor. Hooting, laughing, cheering, it was sickening. The video showed one well-known personality. Someone who's always preaching about unity and morals on TV, smirking as he handed over a thick envelope of cash to another person right after Scrappy got slammed into a table. The vibe was, straight-up gladiator pit. Fans were horrified. Industry folks were scrambling. And sponsors. They ran for the hills. One producer, speaking anonymously, said, "It was like Fight Club mixed with a reality show. Except nobody was acting. That was real blood. Real betrayal." But what stunned everyone the most wasn't even the money on the floor or the chaos. In the room it was the audio. The clip picked up someone whispering, 10 racks on Scrappy. Someone else answered, double if Jock bleeds. Think about that, this wasn't a brawl. This was organized madness, wagered, filmed, encouraged, promoted, and now. The internet had proof. Within hours of the leak, the FBI's interest turned from rumors to action. Reports say they started reaching out to multiple people tied to the show, production assistants, camera operators, even editors. Why? Because that second video cracked open a whole new dimension. Organized gambling tied to violent events. That's federal territory, and nobody, not Jock, not Scrappy, not even the assistants in the background, was safe from questioning. Producers were freaking out. Some deleted old footage. Others tried to lawyer up. But you know how panic works, it spreads fast. People started flipping. People who swore they'd never talk began leaking texts, screenshots, emails, receipts, anything that might clear their name and throw someone else under the bus. A senior executive allegedly told someone at the network, If this keeps going, we're not just talking about cancellations, we're talking about indictments. And in the middle of all this, Jock and Scrappy were silent. Still no statement. No tweet. No Instagram apology. Just nothing except one thing. A leaked text from Jock's burner phone made its way to a gossip site. All it said was, "I told him we shouldn't have trusted them." No names. No details. But fans put it together fast. The blame game had started. Meanwhile, Scrappy's world was crumbling too. His fiancée, the one who had stuck through all the cheating rumors. The mood swings, the emotional distance finally cracked. She posted a cryptic Instagram story. "Loyalty doesn't come with a price tag, but betrayal will cost you everything." Followers went wild. Everyone started speculating. Had she seen something? Had she known about the side deals, the betting, the fake charities? And then came the worst news yet. An Atlanta-based blogger, one who had been silent through most of the scandal, suddenly claimed they had evidence connecting Jock to a much darker side hustle. Not just reality TV messiances, but real criminal ties, specifically, connections to a group rumored to be laundering cash through local strip clubs, using reality TV fame as a front. The internet froze, because if that was true, this was no longer a scandal. This was a RICO case waiting to happen. The blogger dropped a blind item with chilling words. One of your favorite love and hip-hop stars wasn't just fighting for a bag, he was hiding one. That was all it took. Now media outlets were lining up for interviews. Legal analysts started chiming in. And fans, they weren't sure who to believe anymore. Some still defended Jock. Others said Scrappy was set up. A few thought the whole thing was orchestrated for clout, but most were just trying to keep up as the story spiraled further. And the network. They were dying. This show, once a ratings monster, was now a PR nightmare. They had board meetings, behind closed doors, emergency calls with legal teams, and silent panics in the executive suites. Word is, one producer quit on the spot after being named in a leaked message that suggested she helped look the other way when Jock and Scrappy's crew showed up to tapings late, angry, and surrounded by sketchy business associates. This wasn't love and hip-hop anymore. This was the fall of an empire. And just when you think it couldn't get any worse, the mole speaks. Yup, someone on the inside. Someone with deep access started feeding receipts to a rival network. Phone logs, unedited footage, audio clips, old contracts, even copies of side agreements made with certain crew members. Under the table, these documents weren't just shady, they were criminal. And now that rival network, they're building a full-scale docuseries on the downfall of Jock and Scrappy. Not a tribute, not a puff piece, a take-on featuring insiders, leaked footage, anonymous testimonies. All of it, because where there's smoke in reality TV, there's usually an entire forest fire hiding behind the cameras. Meanwhile, both Jock and Scrappy are falling apart behind the scenes. Scrappy's mom is said to be in tears, refusing to eat, begging her son to just walk away from all of it before you go to jail. Jock's ex, the one who always defended him, finally broke her silence. She posted a now-deleted video saying, "This man lied to everyone. And now karma's showing up with backup. Backup in the form of legal subpoenas. Backup in the form of frozen accounts. Backup in the form of a third video allegedly still waiting to be released. One that, sources say, is even more damning. One that shows not just a fight, not just bets, but money changing hands in a backroom, with timestamps, with audio, with names." One insider said, "If that video drops, half the cast will be blackballed forever." And still no word from Jock or Scrappy. Not even a denial. It's like they know what's coming. Because at this point, it's no longer about saving a brand. It's about staying free. But here's the scary part, the drama might not be over. According to someone close to production, more cast members are about to get dragged in. People who were once seen as above the mess are now being mentioned, in private chats and group texts. Even producers from older seasons are being name-dropped. This is a domino effect, and the last tile hasn't even fallen yet. The air was heavy now. Not just with scandal, with fear. It wasn't just fans watching anymore, it was agents, lawyers, reporters, prosecutors, people in expensive suits sitting in quiet offices, running names through databases, tracking wire transfers, matching voices to leaked audio clips. This was no longer a TV mess, this was a criminal investigation in motion. And Jock and Scrappy, They were no longer the stars of a reality show, they were suspects in a growing nightmare. Everyone close to them could feel it. People who once clung to them for clout were now ghosting them for self-preservation. Stylists deleted photos, bodyguards switched phones. Even friends they'd known for years started replying with, "New number. Who did this?" The silence from Jock and Scrappy. It wasn't just strategic, it was survival. Because the rumors weren't rumors anymore. One federal source allegedly confirmed to a local reporter that the leaked videos had triggered a deeper look into illegal betting activity tied to entertainment properties, meaning not just one fight, not just one network, but possibly an entire ring of shady money surrounding reality TV across multiple shows, seasons, and states. It was like one punch opened a portal to every secret the industry had buried for a decade, and the internet. It stayed locked in. The hashtag war returned. Hashtag free Scrappy versus. Hashtag cancel Jock. Fan edits. TikTok threads. YouTube exposes. Everyone had a theory. Everyone was suddenly an expert on federal crime. But beneath the noise was something darker. People were scared. Scared that what they loved was a lie. That the cast members they admired were actors, in something way more dangerous than scripted drama. The network, already hanging on by a thread, finally broke. After weeks of silence, they issued a carefully worded statement. "We take all allegations seriously, and have launched an internal review of past conduct, production safety, and financial transparency. At this time, certain individuals will not return to any upcoming projects pending investigation." Translation. They were wiping their hands clean. But you can't clean blood off a contract, because that third video. It dropped late one night, without warning, without teaser posts, it just appeared. No watermark, no intro, just raw footage. Dark room, bad lighting, whispered voices. But what it showed, it was brutal. The video caught a moment the first two hadn't. The minutes right before the fight. Jock pacing, Scrappy texting. In the background, someone counting cash. You could hear it. The flutter of bills. Someone says, "Last chance. To back out." Someone else replies, "Nah, he needs this lesson." Then it happens. The trigger. A verbal jab from Scrappy about Jock's family. A low blow. Not even related to the money. Not the deal. Something personal. And Jockey, snaps. You can see it in his body language. His hands tremble. His voice shakes. He lunges. And the chaos begins. But that wasn't the worst part. The video clearly shows another figure. Someone never before mentioned, slipping out of the room with a manila envelope. The assumption, payout, either hush money or winnings. Either way, proof that this wasn't just an emotional explosion. It was planned, encouraged, exploited. And now, it's evidence. After that video leaked, everything collapsed. Sponsors pulled out of side projects. Licensing deals were canceled. Podcast bookings disappeared. Even fan events were called off. Nobody wanted to be anywhere near the fallout. And then the final blow. A grand jury notice surfaced online. Sealed, redacted. But fans matched the court stamps to Georgia's federal district. It was real. And that meant indictments were next. Jock's team tried to spin it. Quiet calls to old contacts. Whisper campaigns that he was just caught in the crossfire. But no one was buying it anymore. Too many videos. Too many witnesses. Too much betrayal. Scrappy, he was spiraling. Reports say he was drinking heavily, barely leaving his house. A cousin posted and deleted that Scrappy was in a bad place mentally. And people started worrying, not about his fame, but his safety. Mental health professionals even weighed in, calling out the show's producers for encouraging dangerous behavior, manipulating conflict, and then leaving these men to crash without a parachute. One article headlined it perfectly. When the cameras stop rolling, who catches them? But by now, it wasn't just about catching them. It was about who was going down with them. Because remember that insider from part 2, the mole feeding info to a rival network? Well, that network announced a full miniseries, Brotherhood Broken, The Fall of Jock and Scrappy, and the trailer. Brutal. Clips of laughter, friendship, flashbacks to old episodes where the two hugged, cried, laughed together. Cut sharply, to violence, screaming. Security rushing in. Leaked audio, lawsuits, mugshots, all of it. It didn't feel like entertainment anymore. It felt like a eulogy. Their careers weren't on hold, they were buried. And as the world watched the dirt pile higher, more receipts came out. Photos from past parties where side cash was exchanged. Screenshots of deals being made behind closed doors. Even a voice note of someone, allegedly Jock, saying, "If this goes left, I ain't taking the fall alone." And maybe he won't, because Scrappy's team, what's left of it, is reportedly cooperating. That's the whisper. That he's ready to talk. To name names. To walk away from everything just to stay out of prison. Can you imagine? After everything, the years of brotherhood, the show, the music, the memories, it ends like this. One man flipping, the other drowning in silence. But maybe the saddest part isn't the scandal, it's what it revealed. That none of it was real. The brotherhood. Faked the loyalty. Performed the tears. Staged they were selling a lie. And somewhere along the way, they started believing it themselves. But the truth always comes out. And when it does, it doesn't just ruin careers. It wrecks lives. So now we're left with questions. Will the grand jury bring charges? Will more names drop? Will anyone walk away clean? Or is this the beginning of the end for reality TV, as we know it? Because if two of the biggest names, two of the most beloved stars, can go from brotherhood to betrayal in a matter of weeks, who's next? Nobody knows. But what we do know is this: the game has changed forever, and when the final chapter is written, it won't be about who threw the first punch, it'll be about who survived the fallout. So now we ask you, after everything you've seen, whose side were you really on? Was Jock the mastermind who got outplayed? Was Scrappy the victim of a trap he helped build? Or were they both chasing clout and cash until it blew up in their faces? Let us know in the comments. Hit that like button if you're still with us, and subscribe, because you know the tea doesn't stop spilling here. This is just the beginning. Stay tuned.